2014 Honda Fit. The complaint is it cools at first when they're driving around town, slow speed, short distance, and then as the customer goes on a longer distance, I guess on the highway, as it was explained to me, the air conditioning starts getting warmer and warmer until there's like no cooling. So the first thing is a visual, and one of the first things I always do, I look at the caps. When I look at the caps, I look for dust accumulation on them, and if I see everything is dusty and the caps are clean, like somebody's finger's been on them and there's no dust on them, that tells me somebody may have looked at it just prior to getting to me. That means they already had somebody look at it, and maybe they're not telling you what the other person found, or they tried to squirt in a can. Now, I did find the low side cap all the way around was dust free. When I got the high side cap, a little dirtier. Could be not. You know, these peripheral caps like this are harder to tell. Sometimes it's really obvious when it's super dirty, and then you have perfectly clean caps, you know somebody's been in there. I use a UV light, and I try to look inside the high side and low side, and I look to see if somebody attempted to stick UV and dye in there. It tells me maybe they got a can from one of the big box stores. Go over to a refrigerant analyzer and to see if the refrigerant is pure or contaminated. And we got pure refrigerant here, but it is, they don't consider air a contamination, but it has 4.8% air, and that's an unacceptable amount of air mixed in with the refrigerant. Look at the condenser, all the hoses, the lines, down at the compressor clutch, look for overheating. Let's see if I can get you down there. I look at, so you see the clutch, it's rusty. I look at the surface of the actual, you got the clutch and then you got the pulley. And if the clutch was really overheating, sometimes the very edge of the pulley where it touched to will start to discolor. Then we go over here to the filter. It's not horribly bad. It's just, you know, a little dust in there. It could be replaced. If you see in between the fibers is filled up with fine dust that you don't normally see very well. It's not really bad, but any little restriction reduces airflow. So for my test, I'm going to blow this out for the customer because I want full flow for my test. Then take a look inside and see if, you know, there's a little dust accumulation. Well, sometimes there'll be a lot of accumulation, especially if the customer at one time, maybe they bought the car from somebody and someone pulled out a plug filter and they drove for a long time with no filter, and then they'll have a really dirty blower fan motor blades, and just a little bit of dust accumulation on the edge and built up, and it starts filling up with dirt, will really lower the output of your air, which will affect how much cooling you can do. Then I remove this panel when I can, because that is the entrance right there where all the air mixed, the temperature. So when I stick my temperature probe, since this one's really easy, I will stick my temperature probe all the way down, and it'll literally touch the top of the filter, because this pulls in air from everywhere, and it'll change the temperature of the air going in over the correct air temperature. Because the air temperature, if I just lay my probe here or here, I might pick up 140 degree air, but it's also picking up air from all these cracks down under the fender well that is cool air, and it mixes. And I've explained this in many of my videos. The temperature at this point is not the temperature that's right here. All right, so we're going to jump to another video. I'm going to set up, and I'm going to do a real quick test of how it's operating right now, a before, measure it, and then I'll do a recovery, and then evacuate and a recharge, and then we will do after measurements. All right, we're not hooked up right now.